Well,
Wow.
Guitar Friends, episode 37.
We really doing it.
That was an intro, if there ever was one.
Yeah.
That was
I love subjecting people to metal.
that was some of that metal junkie stuff
Right.
that the kids are smoking these days.
Smoking the metal.
Yeah.
Smoking it.
It's fun. We had lunch the other day, John, and my wife was like fascinated that you listen to metal and don't feel angst from it.
She had a lot of questions.
She couldn't understand
That's
that.
a lot
Like
to understand.
she was like, "But don't you feel like, like doesn't it like get to you?" And you're like, "No, it can be relaxing." And
Yeah,
she-
I can fall asleep to it, actually.
Yeah, and you made a comment. You were like, "No, it's just like what my brain wants."
Yeah.
And when you said that, I was like, "Oh, right, like any addiction." Right? It's like, no, my brain wants to inhale like carcinogens from
Yeah.
this like little stick.
Yeah.
Or like, no, my brain really likes that like the TV's loud, or like when I fall asleep it's like shh.
Okay.
Like I have to have a
I
machine
like some
doing
noise.
that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's just these things that the brain's like, oh, I'll respond to that. You know? Which is wild.
I don't know that I would say I'm addicted to metal, but
Well, it's called Metal Junkie John, so
yeah, I guess that's true.
Y'all got them profiles?
yeah. I'll try those profiles, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, we're going to talk about that. I have some corrections. Very important stuff. Very important business. I want to get to it right at the top of the show.
Wow.
Episode 37.
Okay.
Episode 36. I would say it was our most off-topic episode. There was so little on-topic discussion. We really couldn't pull out any clips. I had a hard time naming the episode.
Right.
And I named the episode, and you can go back and watch, and we don't even get onto that subject until an hour and 9 minutes into the episode.
Dang.
So people are going to be upset that they clicked on it, and there's such a long
You have to wait.
open.
Yeah.
For reference, though, was that the third podcast we had recorded in 2 days?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
Yeah, we
were
were trying to do
marathoning.
two back
Yeah.
to back, and we were trying
The
to
back-to-back thing, I think.
I'd like to do a back to back right now, so we might keep this kind of tight. We might
like
kind of
it.
try to keep with the things, and then we'll see where this goes.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's prone to going off the rails.
It
Sure.
explains.
We were really on subject for a long time, and then
Yeah.
it just went to like identity theft and like all that stuff.
I honestly don't even remember.
Well, let me make some corrections, because there were some things we said incorrect in the last podcast. I want to get to it right here at the top. First of all, I said the Republican Party was started right after the Civil War. That was a mistake. I meant to say it was started right after the outbreak of the Civil War. False. It was started in 1854 as a response to the expansion of slavery in western states like Kansas. And so it was started before the war. So I just want to say that. The Dems were very popular. There was another party called the Do Nothing Party, or the Know Nothing Party. Sorry, the Do Nothing Party is currently in power. The Know Nothing Party. The Know Nothing Party is a real party. You can go look it up. And the Republicans the Republicans started as like sort of an emerging of a couple ideas to be the other party to the Dems. So it was kind of bringing some people together. They formed the Republican Party. Lincoln was a famous Republican and won that election while being left off many ballots, but was very popular. The other thing I need to clarify, we said Washington did, in fact, serve 2 4-year terms. Terms were 4 years. There was no formality about he could have served as many as he wanted. There was no law. But he thought it would be good to set a precedent of 2 terms being the limit. And that precedent became a gentlemanly precedent that was set, and people just stopped running after 2 terms in his sort of example. And then eventually it was made into a law. When I think Roosevelt ran, Roosevelt served his 3rd term. And I think even he supported a limit at that point. And then the other thing that I think is the most important, more important than all of those.
I want to put a pin in that idea. I have something.
You'd like to circle back to
I like
that.
to. I have a comment about that.
Go ahead.
Do you think that it's a thing where when it's not a hard and fast rule, you find that people have to explain the logic behind why people do the thing that they do, right? So take this two term idea. It was just like, no, this is a good idea. Everyone agrees it's a good idea. Get new people in here. Not the same person should be here forever, right? But now that it's like a rule, it's like people run right up to the edge. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, how many other rules? It's like there was like a culture that had like a backstory and like everyone agreed on it the way it was for like the reasons that whatever. But then as soon as it becomes like an actual rule, it's like people just run right up to the edge to where like, because
Everybody
now
wants
it's
to be
like,
there.
I don't have to explain the reasoning behind why the rule is there. It's just a rule now.
Yeah.
And rules are like made to be broken. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And
when
so it's-
everybody agrees on it.
But when everyone agrees on the thing, you don't need a rule.
Yeah, you just, and you
Right?
don't want to break it. You
Right.
just
So
do
it's
it,
like,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's like a commentary on
That's
like
interesting.
why things progress the way that they do is because they're made into rules and then people
Like that's their downfall.
Yeah.
Like, should have left it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean, look, values change, people change. I mean, I think it's easy for people to get along when they have shared values and shared culture.
I think that's what I mean.
Yeah, and when people are largely homogenous, they already
As soon as
hold
you
the
make it
same
into
ideas.
a rule,
Yeah.
the culture or the shared values are not necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it became an
Now
actual.
you,
I mean,
now you can have whatever values you want as long as you follow the rules.
I'll have to make this as a correction on the next podcast because what I'm going to say might be false. But I think it's from Washington to when it was made a law is probably over 100 years.
right.
I could be wrong, but it's a long time.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
So the list of presidents that did 3 terms is very short. Is
Very.
it just 1 or 2?
I think it's 2, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I thought
Sorry.
FDR did it. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong.
On
I don't,
with
I don't
the
know why I
next-
think that. I don't even know why I think that. I could be
I bet
completely
one
wrong.
of them was because of a war or something. Like we didn't
Well,
really
you can.
change.
There's definitely been people who have served 2 and extra. Because if you take over a term partway through, you are allowed to serve 2 terms as long as you haven't served, I think, over 2 years in the first term. I can't. But now I don't know that doesn't have anything to do with Washington's
They know
precedent.
what to do.
Again,
They got all
we're
the-
getting into the things I don't know what to talk about.
Right.
What I do know is there's one more very important correction that I made. I made a big mistake on the last podcast.
This is the worst one.
Changes everything. I am 37. I falsely was accused of being close to 40. I couldn't remember my age either. I said I was 38. I told my wife about that. She reminded me, "You're not 38, you're 37." I said, "No." She said, "Yeah, I'm 38. I just turned 38. I'm older than you." And I was like, "Oh, right." So I will be 38. I thought I was 38, going to turn 39. So definitely still closer to my mid-30s.
I remember this discussion and thinking, yeah, you're definitely close to 40, but I would say that someone that forgets how old they are also presents as close to 40.
Right.
So I don't know if that helps you or hurts you. But
I identify as close to 40, I
Yeah.
suppose.
All right.
That's a good one.
But
Well, your birthday's in a few months, so we'll just have to circle back.
yeah, in August.
So,
Well, then
yeah.
I'll be 38. Then I'll be late 30s. Is that fair? Is that where the line is?
I'd say that you're there now
At 37?
at 2 months away from being 38.
Is it halfway? Is it 37.5?
Yeah, I'd say you're almost 40. You're closer to 40 than you are to 35.
Yeah, because
I hate to
2.5 that way, 2.5
I hate to
that
tell
way.
you that.
I mean, it depends on the rule. You're going to round up or round down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I turned 40 in exactly a week and a few days.
Oh, congrats.
And so
Are we doing something?
I'm like
maybe
very
maybe
aware.
Cheez-Its? Taco Bell Cheez-Its?
We should have Cheez-Its. Something we want that you don't want. Happy birthday to you.
Well, yeah. But see, you're not 40 yet. I think with age, you can't round up. You certainly couldn't drink at 17 and a couple months until you're 18 and be like, officer. Oh, wait, that's not even the drinking age. You couldn't. You certainly.
I was
you
like,
certainly-
dang, 17's
You,
a long
yeah.
way.
you certainly couldn't at 20 and like 10 months be like, but officer or like, but bouncer, I can clearly get in here.
Right.
You can't go to like the Social Security Administration and be like, meh, 66 and a half. What's the difference?
Right.
They'll be like, well, the difference is like 9.5% of the payout. You know what I mean? I mean, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
yeah.
So you're almost 40. Is that where we landed? I'm very almost 40.
I think that's where we
but
landed.
I think you're also
yeah,
almost
there's
40.
no contesting your almost 40-ness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Am I almost 40?
No.
Okay.
I was going to say it doesn't work if you go over.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's like the Price is Right.
Yeah, it's
Closest
like The
without
Price is-
going over.
yeah, once you go over, you've lost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
So are you in your early 40s though?
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
not mid 40s.
Yeah.
Does mid 40s start at 45?
No.
Or
The
is it
mid's
40s?
got to be.
Or is it 44?
It's got to be the 4, 5, 6 numbers because that's really the middle, right?
Right.
44,
So by your logic,
yeah.
you're in your late 30s.
Well,
You're
with
almost
the
40.
7 sometimes included, you know.
Are we separating 10 years into 3 segments?
Yeah.
Early, middle, and late?
Yeah.
You know, it's like a.
So it's 3.3.
Yeah.
Right.
The mid is there, but then the 7's like kind of. It's like the Y in the alphabet: A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y.
Depends
That's the
on
7.
the person.
By your own
yeah.
logic, 7 starts the late period.
Which
4,
you're
5,
but
6
firmly in.
is the mid.
You're firmly in.
No, but it's like.
What if we solved?
Now the 7 is such a number that it's a meaningless number, really. 7. You could do that 7. Let me give you an example. You ask a girl how hot she is, you'll always get 7. Now ask her how hot she is, but you can't say 7. She'll really identify whether she really thinks she's in the upper echelon of an 8, 9, or 10, or whether she's like, I'm a little better than average.
Did we talk about this on the podcast? Veritasium made a YouTube video recently
about that?
about randomness. And if you ask, he asked a bunch of people for, give me a random number between 1 and 100. Most people say 37.
Interesting.
Like, what do you mean most? Like
Most people.
over 50%?
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, 7,
It seems like a random.
it seems like it's not a number that it's not even. If you ask people for a random number, they almost never give you an even number either.
Right.
It's always an
Wow.
odd number and usually ends in a 7. And 3 is also a popular one, and 7, but 37 is the most popular.
That's
So
really
so
interesting.
you're right. 7 is a weird number.
Yeah.
But by your own logic, you're in your late 30s.
I don't know about that. I do know that is also how the IRS goes over taxes. If you see, if they have like an algorithm that runs, if there's too many reoccurring numbers or certain patterns, they know you've made it up because people tend to do what you're saying.
Right.
We think it's random, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
discernible.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Random is very hard to do.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the corrections. That's like some
Yeah.
really good, accuracy.
Yeah, we
I
got to
was
stay.
very worried about all
Right.
of those.
Well, you know,
Listen,
as a media entity that commonly discusses COVID-19, it's important that I put in these corrections.
Oh, demonetized.
Including this episode. I might bleep that out.
According to Facebook, I don't know. You know, you run too many I've got COVID sales.
Now,
and,
we can't buy Taco Bell Cheez-Its with the ad money from this episode.
No. Yeah.
Should I keep? I was going to ask you guys this because I have as a topic here how much the podcast has made to date. I was going to add up all of the ad
Wow.
revenue.
Absolutely.
What do
I
you
wanna
think
know
it is?
that.
And I'll get it for I'll get it for the next time we sit down. It might not be the next episode, but
Yeah.
I'll
What
get
do
it
I
for the next
think
time
it
we sit
is?
down. Yeah. What do we think?
So this is episode 37.
This is episode 37. What do we
I
think
need-
we've made in 37 episodes?
I need to ask a question on this.
Yeah,
so,
go
like,
ahead.
when you go to your YouTube like studio, does it give you revenue per video? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll have to add it all up.
So you would add up just the Guitar Friends videos of what they generate.
yeah, just what the podcast has generated so far.
Man, I'm gonna say $137.
See, I was going to say like 250.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where I'm at, though.
I tried to pick mine really randomly, so I put a 37.
There
at the
you go.
end, yeah.
$137. I like that. Yeah, I'd say,
137.
137. He said 250.
I'd say 250.
I'm gonna say. So we've done. I'm gonna do a little math. We've done 37 episodes. I'm gonna guess that even if the average is $8, you know what I mean. Like we probably had some that have made
And
30
clips,
bucks,
right?
40 bucks.
are you-
I won't do clips.
No clips.
just the actual
full.
episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be a little high.
No. You said 137.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say $370.
$370.
Wow.
I'm gonna say the average is $10. We've probably had some episodes that have made like $30.
Right.
Some that have made like $8. You know what I mean? You know, because I'm thinking we've had some episodes jump out there. The clips would definitely be more,
I know.
but we're gonna have to see.
Someone made a comment about
our lavish.
our lavish
Yes, this also
lifestyle,
was
and
on
I was like, "Good lord!"
They were like,
I don't know what we've done.
They were like, you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
seem to
to
make a
convey
pretty.
this.
They said you seem to make a pretty lavish living by getting people to click on a guitar podcast that's not about guitar.
Yeah.
And it made me think. I wonder how much this podcast has made. That's what it made me think. I wonder what.
About
what has
enough
been made
for
here.
a sushi lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
About enough for 4 or 5 people on a sushi lunch. That's probably about how much
Right.
we've made on this podcast.
Lavish.
One time.
Yeah.
Not every.
Right. But that hour and a half was amazing. We had such a great time. Wow.
Okay, guitar joke of the week here. What do you call a failed lead guitarist?
A drummer? A bass player.
There you go. There you go.
Dang.
You were so close,
You
John.
nailed it.
You were so close.
Sorry, Matt.
Um,
A bass player. So sad.
how do you get 2 guitarists to play in unison?
Get rid of one?
Shoot one of them.
Shoot one. Yeah.
We're on a roll here.
Yeah.
These are great.
We're doing good today. This
These
is
are
good.
great. What do you call a guitarist in a suit?
Dang.
A guitarist in a suit. It's got to be something like, it's some other profession, like a lawyer or something like that. Is that
Like a
what it
blues
is?
lawyer?
Well, what would it be? A lawyer, a guitarist in a suit? Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
What
Like
is-
someone who has a real, someone who has someone who has a full-time job.
Okay, go on that lawyer trend for a minute. Someone around the lawyer who's a lot less dignified.
A criminal?
Also, maybe called a
A politician?
A felon.
close, but who? What
A
would
politician?
You be if an action was brought against you? What would they call you?
Oh, a lawsuit.
Well, what would the person be called who's facing the lawsuit?
The plaintiff? No.
The defendant.
The defendant.
What do you call it?
A guitar player in a suit.
The
I see.
defendant.
Yeah.
And last,
only
these are
reason he would wear a
these
suit.
are all like the putting guitar players down on. What do you call a guitarist that breaks up with his girlfriend?
Breaks up with his girlfriend. Homeless?
Exactly. I mean, this is amazing. You guys are killing
get
these.
it again?
You guys are killing these.
Wow.
What is the similarity
I'm proud of
between?
you.
That's great.
Oh, there's.
This is rapid
That's
fire.
actually
I know.
pretty funny.
These are.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great that you got so many of them.
Just broke up with his girl.
You got to keep your girlfriend.
Homeless.
Yeah.
So
It's
true.
It's good. It's good. Some of these are.
Wildly inappropriate.
Yes. I mean, just last one. What do guitar players use for birth control?
Playing guitar.
It's no, that would be the opposite, right?
Solos.
Their personality. There you go.
Wow.
Okay.
Dang.
I don't know.
That was a,
Those were all the self-deprecating
Yeah,
ones
those
I
are
could
the
find.
ruthless
I could
ones.
find on,
Yeah.
on there. There was a really unfortunate one about Clapton, but I'll tell the better one about Clapton. What does Eric Clapton and what do Eric Clapton and coffee have in common?
I don't know.
They're both better with cream.
There you go.
Kind of clever.
Yeah, that's like,
you
a,
know.
like a dad joke.
Kind of that's a dad joke. You
That's
know?
a good one.
There's another one about Clapton.
Clapton's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Tangent time? Are we already there?
Yeah. What do you got?
So when you make an iced coffee, is
Yeah.
it just like hot brewed coffee and you dump it over ice?
This is a great question, because I recently run into this. Also, this sound I notice is all over the podcast.
Sure.
Of course it is.
Yeah. That mic is good at amplifying.
It's really nice at
Right.
picking this up. A lot of times you guys are talking, you're in the middle of something, and you just hear.
Yeah.
It's really.
I love that. I love
The
that.
slurp sound is also one of our calling cards.
It's really a mood setter. Mm-hmm. So, I buy Stoke iced coffee or this other one that starts with a B, and I can't remember the name of it, and it's better.
Be
Is
for
that what
better.
it starts with? Dang it. That much faster.
What? What'd you say?
I said, is that what it starts with when he's like, be it for better?
I said be for better.
Be for better.
yeah.
It's called
and
better iced coffee.
I think cold brew coffee is brewed cold, and then
So that's cold brew.
yeah. So this is cold brew
Not
that I
iced
buy.
coffee.
Yeah. So this is cold brew that I buy. It's usually less acidic, so I buy it.
I see.
And I usually buy dark cold brew, as dark as I can get it.
Like unsweetened, like nothing in it.
Yeah,
It's just, okay.
yeah, and dark roast. I guess it's still roasted. I don't really know how they make cold brew. Someone put in the comments how they make cold brew. All I know is I buy it in jugs and it's cold, and I pour it over ice, and then a little bit of some half and half. And I like to get it about this color.
So you go by
And-
color.
Mm-hmm. So no sugar, just a little half and half.
Yeah, I don't see color, but
Wow. So the Keurig that you have, does it make cold?
so yeah, the Keurig
Coffee?
has this stupid setting that doesn't work and is terrible, and it says there's a iced coffee setting,
Okay.
and it says you can brew right over a cup of ice, and it's awful.
Does it?
It comes
doesn't
out
heat up the
less
water?
hot. It's less hot, and it only does 6 ounces. And if you try to change the amount, it's like we've dialed in this very specific setting, and then you put it over ice.
6
It
ounces
melts
is
the
not
ice
very much.
immediately,
Well, of course.
and then the coffee is super watered down. And then you put a little half and half, and it tastes like you're drinking half and half in water.
Ooh.
And it's terrible, and I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
And so what I've started doing is doing that setting and then just leaving the coffee out or putting it in the fridge to get it to cool down when I don't have iced coffee because I drank all of it. Does that make sense?
And it'll cool faster than a normal.
I would hope because
Yeah,
it's not
coffee
as hot
will.
when it comes out. So it's not as hot.
And that's
I-
okay.
And then once it's cold, it's okay to put over ice because the ice will just keep it cold and won't melt as fast. Eventually the ice will melt.
Yeah.
But that's what I do. That's my thoughts on and I like it when it's not so acidic. You know, that's why I like cold brew. And I like North African coffee.
I don't like cold brew.
No.
No, you don't drink. You do cold coffee though, right?
I love iced coffee, but not cold brew.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
So like a
But yeah, you can't. To your question,
Yeah.
you can't just pour fresh hot coffee over ice.
but isn't that like an Americano, like an iced Americano? Isn't it that? Like they pull the shots and they put it over ice.
Yeah, but because
right?
it's an espresso shot, it's way
not-
more concentrated. So when you water it down, it becomes more like coffee.
Yeah.
If you just put coffee in,
Yeah.
it's less concentrated. So Alyssa will make me like an iced coffee drink, and she'll do shots of espresso, and then usually she'll add a little condensed milk or whatever she's making. Might have some like, a little condensed milk and cinnamon or something. It's whatever she's doing, but then she does espresso shots. So when it hits the ice and waters down, it's like coffee.
Gotcha.
Like when I do
Okay.
4 shots over ice.
Yeah.
Nothing else added. No,
that's perfect.
because it basically water is
Yeah.
added with the melted ice.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you can't. This is
But you just throw
Probably a
hot
stupid
coffee,
question.
especially a lighter roast hot coffee,
Yeah.
over water. It just is like watered down nothing.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
you can't brew coffee with cold water.
That's what cold brew is.
Yeah, I think they do it cold brew. I think
It
they
takes
do.
Like I do
forever.
pour overs
Yeah.
at home.
It takes forever.
Yeah, are they? It's like just soaking it or
Cold
something.
brew
I
is
don't really
just
know.
you just literally put the coffee, cold water,
Yeah.
and coffee in a jar, stir it up, leave it in the fridge
This is-
overnight. That's
Oh,
cold
it
brew.
takes a long time.
I fear
It's
that
like brewing tea.
I feel the quality of this episode goes down every time we get into something that we don't know about. Like I've
No,
already
I
said.
know about that.
Well, okay, you're right about this, but I'm just saying, like we're.
I mean, I'm sure someone will be like, "I used to be a barista."
I know.
This
I know.
is how.
Hi, Curtis.
Yeah. Hey, Curtis.
We had to make corrections,
early in the
and then we were
episode.
talking about FDR, and I don't know why I thought he served 3 terms. I think he did.
There's something fun about conjecture, though. Like I don't always want to be like completely accurate. Like guessing
Yeah.
in front of each other.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Like what?
Like guessing in front of each other. Like I think it's this.
I thought you said kissing in front of each
Oh.
other,
Oh,
and I don't know. I
gosh.
thought that because it's Pride Month or what, but
Oh man,
Wow.
it's kind of all over the place. Isn't
That
it?
might be bleeped out also.
No, we're
Maybe
not
this
gonna
is
bleep
the.
It's in there.
we should stuff out anyway, whether it needs it or not.
It's also Juneteenth. We're filming this on Juneteenth.
I know my company had a holiday today.
Yeah.
little day off. Nice.
Someone called me in the middle of a meeting that we normally have, and they're like, "You around today?" I was like, "No, man, you shouldn't be either."
Yeah,
What
why are you
What are you
around?
doing?
Yeah. You have it off.
Yeah,
It's funny. One's a month long and one's like a day. I don't know how that scale was calibrated, but you don't want to comment. You're just- I'm just saying, who decides that? Whether something gets a month, a week, a
Man.
year, a weekend?
nobody.
Who? Yeah. What is the council on this? Is there a committee?
I don't know.
How do we determine?
I thought most holidays were just because Congress wanted to work less.
Yeah.
You just keep adding and adding and adding.
They're like, if we approve more holidays, we have to work fewer days. It's a holiday.
I'll tell you what I think is
Self-serving.
Yeah, I don't know if I should get into this on the podcast.
If you're wondering that, then you absolutely should.
I
Just right now, cut to black. Beep. Bleep everything
I
out.
just want to point this out from an issue of like social justice and stuff. I don't quite understand. I want to point something out I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about. Nobody made any money on like BLM, for example. There wasn't really an opportunity for corporations to sort of like try to. I mean, someone sold T-shirts, someone sold hats. You know what I mean? Like you might do something like that. You know, maybe some cities made some money on permits being taken out. But there's no way to like commercialize a social justice movement like that. But
except if you start it, the people,
well,
the person
well,
who
sure,
started
okay,
it.
yeah,
did.
yeah. But I logged into one of my kids' games the other day, and all of the microtransactions are around Pride stuff. So it's like a lot of the normal hats and stuff, but it's all just branded Pride, and none of it says it goes to any third-party
No, it's just
charity.
the game,
Exactly.
The game's like, oh,
And
we
so
can
I'm kind
earn
of
more
like,
money.
this
this
is
way.
this is an interesting thing that no one seems to have a problem with. It seems to be okay. Like it seems to be corporations for this is why I'm asking, like, who makes this rule about the month and the day? Who also says that it would definitely be in bad taste if Visa came out with the BLM card and charged you extra money to
Right.
get a card that was branded, you know what I mean? Like a
Right.
social justice movement or anything, clean water, and didn't give any money to clean water. Or like
Right.
help starving kids and doesn't give any money to clean. These are social justice movements, and
Right.
it would be expected. Like the Red campaign, there's all these products with Red, and it's supposed to go to, I forget which organization, the Red whatever people.
Is it cancer
It's
research?
AIDS in Africa.
AIDS in Africa. That's what.
But there's a specific group that started this Red campaign. They go to everyone. It's like the Red Nikes. You can only get them this, and
Yeah,
you know,
Apple's
the Red,
famous
the
for
Apple
doing
does
this
it.
stuff. Yeah.
You would never ever brand something with a social cause and not give to.
You keep the money.
So
and
you're
like
saying,
not
but,
directly give. The
but
Pride
so you're saying
stuff
Pride
seems,
stuff is
I am looking around going 100%. I am noticing there's a lot of commerce around this. Now I know if you go look at a Pride festival, you know, it's like this fashion show brought to you by
some sponsor.
yes, somebody. I'm
right.
sure I know that's
But
some
it's not.
support.
But what you're
no,
saying
I'm
is
looking at
there's
these, dude. I'm looking at microtransactions on Roblox, on Fortnite, on I bet it's on Modern Warfare, Activision, Microsoft.
right.
I'm kind of going like, it's strange you're allowed to do this and no one is calling you out, and it's so prevalent around. I just wonder.
There's
does
no
anyone-
like actual 501c3
there
that
might
you
be.
would but that is directly associated with Pride Month. It's not like
Yeah.
oh that was started by this nonprofit to
yeah,
do this.
yeah, I think that's
thing,
correct. That's
right?
probably correct. Yeah.
It's just like
That was my question. Was like, where would they send the money?
right.
Well, when you do clean water, I don't think anyone owns clean water, but like Starbucks, when they had all those water bottles for years right there and you bought one, it was like clean
They
water.
chose one.
It's like 10% goes to these wells. And it might have been their charity, but it's at least connected in some way.
That's what I mean.
I'm just pointing out,
yeah.
y'all.
You think it's opportunistic on the part of the?
I think it's.
Yeah.
What
I mean,
you're
let's
saying?
not,
hold
let's not
on.
pretend that any of these corporations care about anything.
That's what
right?
I'm saying. It's not
I'm
like
just saying-
Roblox is like we really
Yeah.
really care.
Which is
They're-
one reason why when
Yeah.
people have called, someone tried to call me out for like BLM. They were like, you didn't do anything for BLM, which I thought was wild. And also, but no one's ever called me out for the Pride stuff. But it's just why, in general, the only thing I ever do for charity is on Giving Tuesday. I will very clearly state the sales for today go to this specific charity.
Right.
And usually it's a charity here in this area.
Yeah, so what you're saying is like be wary of people who are just jumping on this bandwagon and selling something with directly associated to some social movement. If they're not explicitly telling you which charity they're giving the money to.
It's modern day snake oil.
But because
I'm watching my
it's
kid.
disingenuous.
Yeah.
But everyone's behind the movement.
Yeah.
And so they're automatically like, oh, that's a good thing.
Because I'm
But-
watching my kids, I'm like, "What's that?" And they're like, "It's the Pride bounce house." And I'm like, "What's that?" And they're like, "It's the Pride this."
Right.
And then what? And I'm like, "This is all new microtransaction items in this game that just get rid. And look, I mean, look, it's the same as like they would release a 4th of July or this or
totally,
whatever.
yeah.
So maybe in that way it's fine. It just feels a bit opportunistic, considering this is not a national holiday that no one is alive. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not.
Right.
It's not Christmas themed. It's not 4th of July themed. It is.
Right.
It feels a little more. It feels a little more like something. So I don't know. I digress. Sometimes I often look at the world and just wonder: has anyone noticed this? The answer is usually no. Nobody cares.
No, I mean that's what. Yeah, there's been tons of late night TV shows that go through that kind of thing, right? It's like, have you guys really looked at this thing?
Right.
You know,
I think Jerry Seinfeld made a career of these types of
yeah,
statements.
pretty
Right.
much. Yeah.
Has anyone noticed that you?
Right. Anyway, good one.
So
I like that.
Sometimes.
Okay, here's a clip. Is anyone care about the Boss IR-2 anymore? Is this the like biggest flop of a product we've ever seen from a big company?
Is this the one at NAMM where I was like, this one sounds good, and I handed it to you, and you're like, mm-mm.
So the reason I
that what
say
that is?
It was
yeah.
my worst of NAMM. If
Yeah,
you go
it was.
back and
It was
watch
your
that.
worst of NAMM. It was
I
your
voted
worst
for
of
it
NAMM
back
item.
then.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was worst of NAMM, but I can understand why it's lackluster, I guess. I don't know.
I would say it's a bit of a flop, and I'll just say why. We haven't like gotten it and put it through its paces. But why didn't we get it? Because it dropped. It was so hot, and you couldn't really get them. They sold out immediately, right? But that wasn't that long ago, and and people were like, "This is what we've been waiting for. How come they haven't done this before? This is awesome. This is way cheaper than the Iridium. It's way cheaper than the ACS1. And then boom, Tonex 1 comes out at $179.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like now you can get any of these things and capture it, and it feels like, man, too little, too late. This product would have probably had a great 2-year run had it come out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, is it just?
I think people think that IRs do more than they do.
Because it has modeling. So the
I
IR-2
know.
had like amp modeling,
Right.
And I think they really just called it the IR-2 because it fit with they have the larger units that are more designed to run IRs. You can load IRs in the IR-2,
I believe so. Yeah.
or it just had its own.
So
the
that's what I'm
200 was the bigger one.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, 200.
okay, you can load your own IRs. All that means is you can load your own EQ curves.
Yeah, I think for
But
the IR,
you have to pick from these 8 models.
but I think people
we've
were
put in there.
I
For
think
sure.
people were into it because they were just like, here's a small pedal board friendly solution. It's not that much money. Basically, every reason you would buy a Tonex 1.
I was going to say that's the same
exactly,
quality.
exactly. Which is like
Yeah.
that's why it's. I think Boss really. I don't know if they. I mean, they must not have known Tonex was going to do this. I guess they'll sell some, but to me, it's like if you go to the store right now,
Well, Boss doesn't have any sort of capture tech anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
even if they wanted to put, so that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, compared to a Tonex 1, there's no reason to get a Boss IR2 because you can do your own custom IRs and your own custom amp sound.
Yeah, and I looked on ToneNet, and there's IR-2 captures on the Tonex 1. So I mean, you know, I mean, I will say it doesn't have to be a
Maybe I'll
capture
profile
tech.
the IR2. Maybe I'll buy one and
you should.
profile it.
Turn the gain to 10. I will say it doesn't have to be capture tech necessarily to sound good. I mean, I think the UA pedals sound good.
No,
you know, and
yeah.
you can throw whatever things on there. I think the Iridium stuff. The question is just now with the Tonex 1 at 179, assuming that I can sound like that pedal you just made, and any deluxe.
Right.
And a bunch more. Is there any
I guess
reason
my
to spend more money on the?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The reason I brought up capture tech is like, is Boss known for like creating amp models?
No.
No.
they're
And
not.
so it's like IRs are cool, fine, but like I'm putting an IR, which is after some
Yeah, some amp model. Yeah.
amp model,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I mean, that's the whole point. It's like, are they really that good? Well, even if they are good, the Tonex would have an infinite number of them.
Yeah.
Where the IR2 only has 7 or 8. Or
I mean, I
whatever
will
it is.
say this, that,
even if it has 12,
Yeah.
that's still
the problem I would
not
just
many.
I think there is with the problem I think there is with the Tonex 1, if there is any problem, and Tonex in general or Capture Tech, is a problem we see on every platform that eventually comes up, which is now I'm seeing people complain about the Tonex, about how many things exist on ToneNet, and they can't find good stuff compared to bad stuff. There's so much bad stuff. and not all a ton of good stuff. And I go, oh yeah, right. You mean the same thing that happened with Quad Cortex and happened with Kemper. It's the nature of making it easy for everyone to contribute. You get a lot of not great stuff, or you really just get a lot of stuff out of context. I think you're downloading someone's rig without maybe other things connected.
Right.
You don't have their guitar. You don't know how they might be someone who only plays on the neck pickup, you know, of a guitar they own.
Right.
And that's like their thing. Oh, and by the way, they also run this compressor at these pretty aggressive settings. And so you're getting like an ingredient or a piece of something, and it gets represented to you as one way.
Right.
You download it, and you're just unhappy with it. Whereas something like the, you know, any of the UA stuff or the IR-2, simplicity might be its like best feature. You know, it's like, well, I heard someone make this sound good. I know it can sound good. I've got 4 knobs, and and that makes me feel like it's like my amp.
Yeah.
I could get my Princeton to sound good. It just had 4 knobs. Do I want more bass or treble or volume? You know,
Right,
like,
that's about it.
it's like great. And at some level, I think psychologically, it helps you accept the limitations of your sound. You don't ask too much out of the gear when it's presented like that. No one's ever like, you know what I hate about a deluxe? It sounds like a deluxe. Like it's like, you know, no one expects it to be a 3-channel amp.
Right.
You're just like, it sounds great. And
Yeah.
And a lot of people prefer modeling. I've been noticing that in
Yeah.
the comments lately. Is we come at this conversation from this bent of like capture is better and like you get more options and like you don't have to rely on the models. But some people come at it from the opposite. They don't want there you go. They don't want capture tech. Like they just want more and more capable and varied models. You know, and so we were talking about that Line 6 amp one, you know, the hypothetical, you know, pedal that's all their amps, you know. Like, are they still even thinking on that? Because
will they ever do it now?
Yeah, because it was like the IR-2 was sort of Boss's versions of that. These are our amps. These are our speaker imprints. You can do your IRs. And then the Tonex is over here saying, no, this is all capture.
Yeah.
Is Line 6 going, well, we could be there.
I think Line 6 should have... If Line 6 looked at how the reaction to the IR-2 was, they must have been thinking, we should have done this. We should have made a simple pedal with 5 models.
Yeah.
Like we should have just chose 5 out of the Helix and put it in.
Like the Express, 10. You know, the Express came out
like
but better in all amps and whatever.
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
Yeah, there's something that feels cheap when you can put AA batteries in something.
I wonder how the Express, you know, is doing. I haven't even read about it or looked at it.
Did you guys ever get one?
No,
Never
another
got one.
product that I think is people don't really want.
I'm gonna profile that
just
too.
based on how much.
Get one.
How much do you see written about the Express?
That's what I'm saying.
Nothing.
I almost forgot about it. You know,
it went out to a bunch of people. It's like, look how cheap this is. Look how cool it is.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Have you ever heard anyone say, I like the Tonex one, but I'll take I'll take the Line 6 Express over it. The Pod Express.
I've seen it on zero pedal boards.
I think it's
zero pedal boards. And I know maybe it wasn't for that market. It was for the beginner, for the whatever. And so maybe that's unfair criticism of us. But now I think they'd be crazy to do it because I don't think they can hit one. Well, they can probably hit 179, but I'm not sure anyone will go, this is better. Why would I buy this? Your only hope would be, well, we're on the shelf at Guitar Center, so we'll move units that way. Like we have better distribution. And I don't know that they do over IK. Maybe they do.
I think I'm seeing a lot more criticisms now of the Tonex 1. I think it was a lot of positive thoughts at the beginning, but now I think people are getting them, and I just see it crop up in comments on our stuff or other people's videos.
What kind of like criticisms are you hearing?
A lot of the stuff about MIDI, which I understand. Like they're like, if this is on a pedal board and I want to make changes to all my pedals, like I basically have 2 settings, you know, or 3 without giving it some sort of outside, you know, CC or PC changes or whatever.
Yeah,
can't do that. So you got to go up to the big one. I mean, some people have talked about the latency. I don't think that's a huge issue. But I think people are getting it and sort of like thought maybe it was going to be better than it was, or not for them or whatever. So I don't know. I would be interested if anyone's like tried both and was like, yeah, this IR-2 is like head and shoulders above.
It's interesting to me that people would criticize that pedal for like only being able to give you 2 sounds, because it's like that's what an amp does.
Yeah, totally.
You can't change an amp. I mean, even a 2-channel amp will give you 2 sounds.
Right.
You don't. You usually have more than that, and a lot of amps are one channel.
Totally.
Or
so
like
you mentioned the UA stuff. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, if you treat it like a pedal platform, which I think is the goal of it.
Right. And they already offer a more sophisticated pedal that would give
Yeah,
you
that's
they
the
offer
thing.
that. You
That's
just
the
got to
thing.
pay for it.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, of course they wouldn't put MIDI. I would be shocked if they tried to put MIDI capability in that tiny little
what's
thing.
the difference?
Because the big one already has it.
Yeah.
Can you do MIDI over USB-C on it? Does it do that or no? It has a USB-C
the one?
input. Can you do
I don't believe
MIDI
so.
over USB-C?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know why they wouldn't be able to offer that. I mean, it's just a USB-C. It's got a processor inside.
They wouldn't because of product differentiation.
Right.
I don't know why they would do
because they wouldn't
that.
want to.
Yeah, this one has 3 buttons, and you can do MIDI. This one has 1 button. You can also do MIDI.
Yeah, it's
like you can,
it's crazy. I wish I could switch to a different sound, and that exists. That exists for
Right, you can
Yeah.
switch to a different sound.
or buy a second one.
Right, they're cheap.
that is
They are
true.
cheap.
You could do that.
Yeah,
But
Or
at
the
that
big
point,
one is
just
not
buy
that
a
much,
big one.
The big one
Yeah.
is not that much more expensive.
Yeah.
right.
I'll tell you, I didn't.
Especially a used one or something.
I didn't intend to come to this conclusion. This wasn't at the beginning of this, but I have noticed that every time we post a video on a certain modeler, by the halfway point, we're just talking about Tonex. And I think I've been noticing this because I keep posting the clips.
Yeah.
And it's like, the new NAMM player or this Line 6 thing. And by the end, it's just a discussion of Tonex.
That's how much
And
is taken over.
That's how much it's taken over.
Right.
It
You know?
really
That
is.
is interesting.
It really is like the number one guy. Now, I don't think it's the number one in terms of all modeling, but in terms of simple single pedals that just have a sound like that you put on your pedal board, it's not even close. I mean, it's I was going to say Green Ranger among the other Rangers, but that's still not differentiated enough. It's like Superman and a Boy Scout troop.
Dang.
He be stronger.
Way stronger. Not the best trash talker, but he's stronger.
Interesting.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, for the people that were going to get the IR-2 to do this one job on their board,
Yeah.
get a Tonex one. I mean,
Yeah.
that to me seems like a no-brainer.
How much is the IR-2?
No idea. We should look it up. I don't.
matter.
You don't
even
wanna-
know where my-
It doesn't matter.
You don't want to correct it on the next episode.
Yeah, we don't want to have any more corrections
Starting with a lot of corrections.
because so the Boss IR-2.
While you're doing that, I would also be interested to know the 200. It is interesting that there's the IR-2, the 200, and then the Tonex 1 and the big Tonex. Like you've got these two basically same ways of doing things.
The Boss IR-2 is $199. But if you do it from ZZ Sounds, no credit check.
Wow. That's worth $20 right there.
They won't check your credit.
Oh my god. Let me
and
just
then-
for everyone listening, if you have to finance something that costs $199,
Yeah, don't do that.
You can't afford it.
Don't buy it.
No.
and
really
then
sorry.
you can put it across.
I
8
know that I
payments.
seem to live a lavish lifestyle, but
Right.
if you
Yes.
can't, yeah.
I want to finance these sushi rolls.
And then the IR-200 is $349, but the IR-200 does not have the same models. My understanding was the IR-2
Yeah.
had new models, and a lot of people were hoping that those new models would come in a firmware update to the bigger units.
Right.
So I think the idea was Boss really was trying to up their game quality-wise with the IR-2.
Guys, it sounded bad.
So
It didn't sound.
Yeah,
I
but-
would love to get one.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
In fairness, like you tried it at
Yeah,
NAMM with the
yeah.
headphones, and Boss and any company. Sometimes people mess up trade shows. They will we went up to the Line 6 booth.
it was just terrible.
It's terrible.
Terrible.
We couldn't. First of all, we couldn't tell which guitar was which was the $2,300 one, which was the $1,600, which was the whatever.
Pacifica.
We tried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were trying. I still don't know. Have you heard anyone go I bought this Pacifica and it's this?
Right,
No. Nobody cares. Nobody talks about it.
Right.
Call it something else.
No, but the pedal board that they had set up, it took 3 people to try and get it to
Because
work
they were
for
here,
us.
try our Bluetooth headphones as well.
remember
And it's just
that,
we
yeah.
don't. Nobody
Too
wants
much.
any of this.
Too much.
Also, there's pianos playing, and there's a guy playing a trumpet under a spotlight. This is very Yamaha. We know you do everything.
Right.
Get over
Oh,
it.
NAMM.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
was
we know
great.
you do everything. Don't do everything all at
Yeah,
once.
and then
right
they had
here.
the tank in the middle with the jet ski demonstration. It was very confusing.
No,
It's made up, but also really probably could happen.
I literally like took myself back to that like room upstairs. I was like,
wait a minute, did they?
Yeah, was it on Saturday morning they did
So
that?
it's funny. It's so funny that you said, guys, it doesn't sound good, because I was literally just about to say, look, I played it and I wasn't that upset with it. Like, it sounded fine. It sounded totally fine to me.
This is like that hot dog place all over again. We haven't talked about food very much, so I just thought I'd go there.
There's a hot dog place near us that
there's a
opened
new
up.
hot dog place, and I went and was like,
What's it called? Daddy Dog?
Daddy's Dog.
Daddy's Dogs.
Yeah.
And it just did not hit. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't want to finish my meal. I was like, I've made better hot dogs at home without trying.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's tough.
And it was $17 or whatever it was. You know, so. But then y'all went and
it
you
wasn't
loved it.
$17. Now
It's
I wouldn't say
$12.95 plus a side.
I wouldn't say that I loved
plus
it.
the side.
The side was $4.
I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that I loved it, but I have gone there twice.
Okay.
I ate there again
You
willingly.
chose to eat it again.
The elote dog looked amazing.
That's what I got.
Tihachi on that, and you said it was bad.
It's the same thing that's happening with the IR-2. It's like we got the same.
We got the
product.
same. I was like, man, that doesn't sound like what I got. So I sent him a picture of the next one. And he's like, no, that's what I
looks
got.
pretty
I
close.
didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
If just for science, I would like to eat the hot dogs while playing the IR-2 at the same time, and then we can compare both of them.
I don't
like
know
that.
if it's really a $17.99 dog. I don't know if it's good or bad, but somehow I know California is to blame in all this. That's what I'm sure
It's
of.
true. Tesla. I just needed to say it, so like we get all.
Yeah,
of
there we go.
Yeah,
There we go. We just
that
hit,
the whole?
we just
No,
hit
we did
every.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
We just hit every one. Every talking point of the.
You guys will be pleased to know that we were at a family gathering for Father's Day, and my son got my phone and showed our family the theme song. He played it over and over and over and
that's
over.
good.
Yeah,
That's
I was
great.
like, that's good, buddy.
That is
So,
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
actually. I mean, it
a
holds
good-
up.
it's a good one.
quite impressive. My dad, who's a musician,
Yeah.
was
Merle.
like, "There's no way that a computer made that." I was like, 100%. He's like, "But who's singing it?" I was like, "Dad."
Dad.
The AI.
He pointed
did
out the riffs and the
everything.
hooks and the trumpet lines and like the little pauses.
Did you tell him that it took like 1 minute to make that?
I told him that it spit out like 8 versions. You know,
Right.
like I was like, this is not the only one that we got. You
I mean,
know?
we put in the prompt.
Yeah.
And I mean, you should show him that process, because just putting in a prompt,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, seeing the
Those lyrics
final
I did
output
rewrite.
is
Yeah.
impressive
Yeah.
enough, but seeing that it does it essentially in real time
yeah.
is
And it seemed to
Wild.
do it. I mean, that being the best one we got, it seemed to do better when I wrote the lyrics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I felt like I gave it some pretty challenging lyrics at times. You know, there was,
But it made it so good.
yeah, the stanzas were not even like in their syllables or in the word. You know what I mean? They weren't even close, and it just went for it.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's so good. It's
Struck
so
gold.
good.
struck gold.
It's so good. How long until we get like something that's topping the charts that's like AI?
I had thought it had already happened. I thought Rick Beato did a whole thing on this, like songs that were top 50 Spotify songs that were AI that nobody knew.
Yeah,
like the sneaking in.
I think
there,
it's been
you
on
know?
Spotify.
Yeah.
There's been Spotify songs,
Yeah.
but I don't think anything's gotten on Billboard. I don't know if you can. I think you can, because I know there's like some AI artists.
I was
that
just
are
going to say,
on
does Billboard
records.
matter? How do you determine what's top anymore?
Well, and I wonder what it is top daily on Spotify, because that you could kind of game that a bit. You know, if something takes off hot and it goes like kind of viral on Twitter, and you got a link. You know what I mean? You could get a top day. You know, is there like
What
a
is
top?
Billboard even measuring, though? Are they measuring streams?
They do have a stream measurement that I think measures across
Based
stuff.
on radio. I mean,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
because
before.
there's a new standard based on streams where you can go gold, platinum. There's like a stream equivalent. You can still do it based on sales, but because it's become almost impossible, there's a stream equivalent where
Yeah,
you get a gold and a.
Yeah, how
and a-
hard is it to sell 1 million full albums now?
Oh, right.
I mean, so few people are able to do it.
Yeah.
I think the only people who can do it are like people who can sell records at like Cracker Barrel, like Dolly.
Right. My first
like-
thought was like Carrie Underwood probably has done
Yeah.
that.
I doubt she's even selling that many records
Yeah, I
anymore.
doubt it.
She's like a popular streaming artist. You know
Taylor
what I mean? Like,
probably doing it.
she might be, because people are going to buy and download. I mean, but dude, you wonder if how many of the Taylor fans how many of their families have an Apple family account?
Yeah.
And then there's no need to buy it because it just works on their phone.
Right.
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
they would never buy it.
Even on an Apple account, because we have Apple Music, we don't have Spotify, and it's all streaming anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like we're
So like
buying albums.
if you had it, you would. I mean,
You know?
It's funny.
yeah.
We actually bought her new album.
Where
Like,
did you play it?
The actual LP. We gave it as a
Oh, an
gift.
LP. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like I was just thinking like I haven't done this for a decade or more.
Yeah.
You know, like went to Target and bought. You know,
I bet she has one of the top selling vinyls just for that reason.
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
probably.
people
collectible and
yeah.
yeah.
And people want
her fans are
yeah.
crazy.
Dude, they're nuts.
we have a vinyl. We have a record player, a cheap one. It's not like a killer one, but
Is it from Urban Outfitters?
no. But it we have like a small record collection.
You use it? Mm-hmm. Does it sound better? It's like analog.
No, it's just fun. It's like a
Like
different.
an old-timey-
It's like a different experience.
Do you just sit on the ground in front of it like old radio shows?
No, it's like upstairs and
Okay.
yeah.
I think there's something nice about like that. You know, I haven't done this in years, but like getting out a record, putting it on with the needle, and like sitting and listening. You know, we talked about like listening to records and how you start a song. And I was saying I always look up a song, but then I find the record and I play the song and then I let the rest of the album play.
Yeah.
You know, if I was a purist, I guess I'd start from the beginning of the record, the album.
Someone equated it to like the difference between a gas fireplace and a wood fireplace. With a wood fireplace, you get to experience it, but it takes work.
A little more trouble. Yeah.
It takes work. When the fire dies down, you got to get up and do something.
Yeah.
It's like a slightly more participatory experience.
What's the speaker like? Is it like I remember those old built-in ones.
It's
Those are
absolute garbage.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were those things called that had like a phone, like a megaphone coming out of it, but it was like a built into the
Yeah, like a gramophone.
gramophone.
Yeah, gramophone.
Yeah.
Like the old RCA dog, listen to the gramophone.
Right.
That was the
now we have
the
that
logo.
pink grandma's phone.
Yeah, we have grandma's phone. Yeah, you know it's wild. I saw they sell this at Urban Outfitters where they sell vinyl and stuff. They have a turntable there that you can play records on that can connect via Bluetooth to speakers you can also buy,
Right.
which made me think,
What do we do?
what are we doing?
It's
Yeah.
little future,
That's
little
like
past.
that's
you know?
like the equivalent of like load the wood in here, turn the gas on here,
Right.
and like it
Right,
burns the
right.
gas and your wood is. It's just for
Right.
the ceremony of putting the wood in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
You know,
or
and
it's
then
like it's in front of a screen that
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
wood burning.
yeah, right.
Right.
But there's wood in there behind that.
That's a wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had at the company that I used to work for in California, we had like a $50,000 record setup, like a record player setup with like, I mean, we all looked it up one day and we were like, holy crap. Like, what have we done here that we bought this much stuff? And it sounded excellent,
Right.
but it didn't sound better than like the full size HomePod that was also right on top of it.
Right.
And that
No,
could
of
play
course not.
anything
Of course
you wanted.
Right. Literal opposites.
That's
Like if you don't own the album, you can't play it. Like the other one.
So yeah, I was like, man, we could have bought a
Wow.
BMW with all this money.
What do you think, while we're doing conjecture, what do you think the amount of, let's just say, full-length albums is to stream, like on Apple Music? Is that number like out there?
Oh, what do you
It's
mean?
constantly changing. But
how
do you
many are
mean?
available? Or
yeah,
how many
what
are
like
free?
what do I have access to on Spotify in terms
Oh,
of albums
God.
I
Oh
could
my
go
gosh.
listen to? I know it's constantly changing, but like,
Yeah.
what's a?
You're asking how many albums have existed ever?
They must know. Like this is our.
Yeah.
Well,
It's-
not everything's on there, right? You know, but like the ones that.
Most everything is on there.
Yeah.
You know what's actually weirdly missing from Apple Music?
What's that?
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
Things
well,
like
I was
that.
gonna say there are some
Yeah.
artists that have like I
was
was
like,
my
A couple
stuff.
of my bands that I
Yeah.
follow are not
Yeah.
on there. You know, but-
Like it had Cheeseburger in Paradise, but it didn't have like all of the stuff that I grew up listening to. You know, that's really
Interesting.
weird. Yeah,
like throw out a number.
I mean, it's got to be. My guess was like 10 million.
10 million albums you could go click and play.
Yeah,
right
I mean
now.
that's the question is how many albums have ever existed worldwide?
right. Do they need to be submitted to Spotify though, right? Like Spotify's just not going out and collecting
What
all
they're
the, you know.
probably doing like way back in my software career, I worked for a company that did a thing with Hot Topic, and we were selling MP3s. It was like buy a T-shirt, get the MP3s for free.
Yeah.
It shows you
That dates the.
it dates the thing, right? This was early.
Buy a T-shirt, get an MP3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like downloading MP3s, right?
Dude, take me back. Dude.
I know, totally.
Wow.
But Hot Topic had purchased the catalog of MP3s. So it's not like they went out and just, you know. So there's like a company you go to.
They have the right to do
and
that.
they have, it's like 3 different companies. And it was like every album ever. They have,
Okay.
you know.
I doubt any of those. There's times when you can buy things for very cheap. So there's a company that bought the rights to reproduce a bunch of albums on vinyl when vinyl was way in the decline. And now those are worth probably 100x what they paid for it. Because now all of a sudden there's a resurgence and people want stuff. And what those record companies had sold is basically like, well, we'll never produce this on vinyl again. We own the rights, but you can print it on vinyl and sell it. And we'll sell you those rights because we don't believe this market will ever come back. And now it's worth a lot more money. And so then, they would sell those rights to like Urban Outfitter, or, you're probably paying them or whoever. But, so much music is just like consolidated into like 3 or 4 big record companies now.
Yeah.
And then once it becomes the place, you get all the independent people just putting your stuff up,
Yeah. Yeah. Cause like, even when I was in the band, it was like the questions were like, what record label were you on? But who's your distribution through?
Yeah.
Because the distribution is like, that was like the bigger part, back in the early 2000s. Right. So now distribution is all digital.
Yeah.
But it's still, there's only like a few main companies.
CD Baby is still like a pretty big company for that reason.
CD Baby.
It's still, you can still put all your stuff on CD Baby.
Things I haven't heard for 20 years.
Totally.
But CD Baby is still like one of the easiest ways to get your stuff on all the streaming platforms.
Wow.
Because it used to be, CD Baby
them.
will like make you some CDs and then they'll warehouse them for you, and you can give people a place to go
what
order
did you guys,
it and they'll
didn't
send
you guys
them.
use something?
Oh, at the church we did DistroKid.
DistroKid's another one. Yeah. DistroKid's gotten.
I think I think I downloaded the first Pete Thorne album off off CD Baby,
and it was one of the few ones because
Pete Thorne,
anyone
good
could
shout
do it.
out.
I know.
Anyone could do it.
Hi, Pete.
And it was like free and
Just kidding.
He's not here, John.
He's not listening.
he's not here. All right, should we call this one? Because I think we can fit in something else. I got an idea for the next one. We're gonna do something a little different.
All right.
What number was that?
Well, those 37. But what I'm thinking,
37, solid.
I'm thinking if we do a 38, 37, mid 30s.
Wow, that's multiple times we've said 37 today.
We're about to get. It's a random
It's
number.
so random.
It's so random. 37. I'm
What
37.
hold on. Before we go on,
Episode 37. I'm 37. 37 is the most random number.
and that's the number you said was in that video. Did you even know that you were saying that in the 37th episode?
I didn't.
Why?
That is nuts.
Yeah. That's when you know there's a glitch.
What if I was wrong? People are looking up the Veritasium video and they're like, that's not
What's
37.
the answer to the universe? 42.
42, I
But
think.
maybe 37.
Yeah, it could be 37.
It's
now.
like that's when you know there's like a glitch in the simulation. Like when I told you I saw that guy who was a fake person. I saw and I told my kids he's not real.
Yeah.
Did I tell this on the podcast ever?
Yeah.
No, you didn't, but don't say it.
Do you want me to open the next one? with this?
Don't say it right
I'll
now.
open
People
this.
have to wait.
Cliffhanger.
People have to wait for this
Cliffhanger.
story.
You're gonna want to come
because
back.
it's actually, I think you're right.
I know. I know he wasn't a real person.
I don't think he was a real
And I said it to
person.
my kids, and they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "That is not a
You're getting
real
close
person."
to telling the story.
I know,
so-
but you're not
Okay.
going to.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you in the
37.
next one.
All right. Guitar friends, this has been episode 37. I've been HW.
I've been Suze.
I'm still John, too.